Hi, I'm Jerika. I use she, her.
And I'm Jay, your DM. I use he, him.
Today we have a lovely guest with us. I'm so excited. We have Silani here with us.
Hi!
Silani is a master of many different things, and I'm so excited that we get to talk to her about all these things, but I'll let her say hi and introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Slani. I'm she, her, and I am the DM for Plot Hunters.
And this is Insight Check, where we delve into the dungeon of your bad decisions and retrieve the treasure of wisdom. Yeah.
Wisdom is never a dump stat here.
Yeah, no, we believe strongly in making wisdom your primary stat.
Who has ever
insight.
treated wisdom as a dump stat? What is this?
People who don't play clerics or druids probably do.
Wizards, barbarians, but we don't have any of those here today. I think everybody in this chat would be pretty firmly in the wisdom build. Jerika's obviously let the preference for druid be known.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would be charisma because it's either sorcerer or warlock for me. Or actually, was warlock charisma or is it wisdom? I can't remember.
Charisma.
I was always wanting to be a sorcerer.
I feel like I'm so pedantic about the rules and minutia that I would definitely end up being a wizard, huh? Yeah.
That spell book. Gotta get all them words in it.
Absolutely. But we have a pretty good list of questions here to get through today, so I think we should just tuck right in.
All right, Silani. Plot Hunters is in its second season. Tell us a little about how this show came together.
Momentary madness. I for whatever reason, I don't even know why I decided to do this, but basically I moved to Seattle about a year and a half ago and was feeling very lonely. I didn't have any friends, and it's not easy to make friends here. And I wanted to play D&D, and I've been wanting to DM a game for a while now, but just out of the blue, I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to put together a group. So I put out an open call on Twitter and Tumblr for players. I was looking for primarily POC players to form up a group, and I had a few hits and got really freaking lucky with the group that I got together. I'm just amazed.
There's some great synergy there.
There really is, and we're all complete
that
strangers. I don't know how. I don't know how this happened. Where I just got such a great group together, but they all responded, and we just put Plot Hunters together. And I just decided to throw it up on the internet because why not? If you're going to do it, might as well go all the way.
Now, in like one sentence, what would you say? How would you describe Plot Hunters for someone?
Plot Hunters is an all POC LGBT Dungeons & Dragons game, and we're currently going through just published adventures. So we went through Curse of Strahd, and right now we're going through Waterdeep Dragon Heist. Eventually, I'll like to do some custom or some homebrew stuff with them, but I'm very much a newbie DM. This is my first game that I ever DM'd, so I'm still learning the ropes.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The published adventures are really good. I mean, the quality of the published adventures for 5th edition has been really, really high. They're not cranking them out as quickly, but they're putting a lot of polish on what they put out, and I've found them to be really, really good. Each and every one of them.
Oh, yeah. I started out playing 3.5, and this has been an improvement for me just as a beginner.
Yeah. 3.5 is just a lot for anybody.
It is.
It's just... I feel like at a table of 3.5, I'm never the most knowledgeable person at the table, which feels really weird for a DM. Like, I don't know as much about the system as my players.
When you're playing with air.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. No, I also really like the current system.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. It's very easy. It's very accessible. It feels just...
How are you taking to Waterdeep?
I love it. I absolutely love this adventure so much. Largely because we started off in Barovia and Curse of Strahd, and my players are a group that really likes me to explore their backstories, and that was kind of hard to do because it's a very isolated place. And there wasn't really any way to tie in their backstories to that. So now that we're out in the real world, I guess you could call it, out in Faerun, and there's just so much that I can do with them. And I'm enjoying just the freedom of just being able to just drop in backstory hints everywhere.
It's a nice adventure because stationing it in that city, there's a ton of NPCs to interact with. So it gives your high charisma players something to do with that stat. Whereas a more wilderness adventure, it's more about your, mechanical abilities, your strength, and your dex. But in a city, you can finally let those charisma users shine. Performance checks for everyone.
It's funny you describing it that because I feel like my players are very much not optimized at all, but that's what makes them great. They're just they're just a bundle of anxiety, all of them, and I love them.
I would always advocate for RP over perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah. The flaws make gems shine, I guess.
Hey.
I don't think a gem cutter would agree with that.
Probably not. I think the less flawed a diamond is, the more money you get for it. Anyway, this is not jewelry. This is D&D. Silani, what would you say has been the most surprising thing about running Plot Hunters?
The most surprising thing would probably be just how quickly I took to DMing. Because again, this is my first game and I was expecting to struggle a lot. But once I kind of got into it, I just kind of lose myself in it. And I was really surprised because there's a lot of times where I'll just be like, God, I just bombed that game. I hope that my players didn't completely hate me, and they'll write me back and I'll just be like, oh my God, that was such a great session. I loved all these things that happened. I'm just like, I don't completely suck. Apparently they're having fun.
What do you think what you're focusing on that's different from what they're focusing on to have those two different points of view?
I think that because I'm seeing everything from the DM perspective, so I'm seeing all the things that I'm missing, like especially like plot points, because there'll be things that I'm supposed to bring in at certain times and I completely forget, NPCs I'm supposed to introduce, and I don't realize that they don't see that. They don't see behind the curtain. So all of these flaws and things that I'm missing, they don't know because they're paying attention to the things that I'm actually showing them.
Right, and you have years of experience that some of these players don't have, so even the messy bits, they don't really have that frame of reference where they can compare and contrast.
One of my players has a lot of experience. She comes mostly from Pathfinder, but even so, like, she hasn't called me out on anything and seems to be enjoying herself, so hey, I must be doing something right.
There you go, right? That's all you can ask for. Man, Pathfinder's super crunchy.
So I've heard. She showed me her character sheet from that, and she's like, hey, look at these stats. And I'm looking at them like, I don't know what any of these means.
Yeah, don't worry. You just have 3 armor classes in that game.
Oh my God.
Can you hear me rolling my eyes? Sounds like a bad time. Anyway, great, good. Bye, Pathfinder sponsorship.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had the pleasure of listening to your first podcast earlier this week. You just released it, I believe.
Yes.
And I assume, do you have a release schedule?
It was supposed to be every 2 weeks, but my lovely migraine earlier this week kind of pushed it back. I'm trying to get it. I recorded it on Sunday, so I just have to find time to edit it. But it's supposed to be every Saturday because I figured might as well put it on. Might as well just jam pack my Saturdays full of stuff.
What's that called?
It's called Mistress of the Multiverse.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. Just me talking about all the nerdy stuff that I want to talk about.
Hey, that's the only reason you start a podcast.
Exactly.
So in that first episode, you reflect on your last year and a half of D&D streaming. And you talked about your growth as a DM, and you just did it. You categorize yourself as a newbie DM. What do you think makes someone a full-fledged DM as opposed to a new DM? At what point are you going to feel like you've done it and you have some, have the experience under your belt and now you're a DM and you don't have to qualify it?
I think that I don't really think anybody really feels that way. At least not that I can really speak about. Just I feel like it's one of those things, just like any other art form, where you never really master it. You just keep pushing the bar and trying to get better and better at it. I feel like the only time that you'll feel like a fully fledged DM is when you get tired of DMing and want to quit.
No, I'm perfect. I think I'm great.
I don't expect that I will ever reach that point where I will feel fully fledged. But there's also the fact that, like, even if you know all the rules of every game, like, there's always new stuff out there. There's always something to learn. And I never want to stop learning. I never want to stop pushing that bar and making it and getting better at something. I don't want to master something because it's just, I don't know. I feel like once you've mastered it, where do you have left to go? Where do you have left to grow?
My 2 cents is that you've run your team through, you know, a whole adventure, I would say, through Barovia. I would say that you're, you know, you've put in the work. Like, you are a DM now, like, no question.
I feel like I should just put the little mini DM like right next to my name, just like MD DM
verse
DM.
Oh yeah. So we didn't tell you this. This is your graduation party.
Really?
You're no longer a
No, wait,
newbie.
that's President.
You're official. You're a full-fledged. But I get your point though that you know, even if we drop the modifier newbie DM, I don't think you ever become like a master DM. I've definitely very, very recently had sessions that ended where I was just like, I totally screwed the pooch on that one. Didn't do good at all. Did a bad job, and that session was horrible. And then just went back to the drawing board and figured out what to do next time.
And
So I don't think anybody ever.
For
8 years, 9 years. Yeah. So I mean, totally relate to what you're saying about like never feeling like you really mastered it. Always something to learn, always something new to improve, something to get better at. Right now I'm really focusing on like pre-campaign prep and session prep and like how I can maximize my return on investment from session prep. Like, you know, just an hour of prep to get 4 hours of play, and what needs to be prepped in order to most improve the play time.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
I was just gonna say that I definitely like got over the over preparation bug at the beginning of Curse of Strahd, because it was really after the first few sessions it was like, yeah, we're not gonna hit any of this stuff. We're just gonna go. I'm just gonna prep one encounter, maybe two at most, and a couple of story things, and that's all we're gonna hit next session.
Yeah, I feel like I used to be the type who had all these plot points I wanted to hit, and I just feel like, you know, you're not leaving room for your players. You know, if you're planning all this stuff, where's your players supposed to fit into all
Exactly.
that? And my players basically gave me that feedback.
But it makes sense because, like, yeah, I always have to take into account that, like, at least half the session is just going to be the players interacting with each other and doing whatever they want to do and talking and discussing and planning.
If you let them, it would be the whole session.
That's true.
I mean, that means you have a good table, right?
Yeah.
I recently gave Leap some advice about small folk, and it was that you're probably going to get through about a third of what you expect. That's my general ratio, but...
So what is the main piece of advice you have for new DMs?
Just do it. Just no matter no matter how scared you are, how nervous, just jump in and do it.
Nike? Where's that Nike? I don't know, whatever.
Yes.
Give them the swoosh.
Yes.
Just do it. Play D&D.
Yes.
That's it.
But that's pretty much my.
I mean, it's good advice.
Yeah. Well, because like I have so many people that come to me that I've asked like, or have told me that they want a DM, but this reason or that reason, it's just like, just do it. Just push all that stuff aside and just do it. Just dive in and do it. That's literally what I did. I was just like, I'm tired of waiting around to try and find a group. I'm just going to make one.
And it worked out.
Yeah. It can be scary, but you'll get over it.
Where would you say you find inspiration as a DM?
Okay, so now, before it was just kind of reading the established published adventures and just kind of getting the feel of how these games go and how they run. Now I'm getting inspiration from everything because I'm paying more attention to like movie plots. And I swear one day I'm totally going to write an adventure that is straight up Die Hard. I'm absolutely determined to make that happen. And and it's going to be like whoever can guess the fact that they're playing in the Die Hard game gets like a bonus or something like that. But no, yeah, I'm pulling from everything now.
I ran a game and Jay was in it that was loosely based on the Magic School Bus.
Oh my God, that's
that
amazing.
Inspiration comes from many places.
It reminds me of this conversation that people were having the other day about D&D in the old school sense being about clearing rooms. Like you would sit down at a session of Dungeons and Dragons and you would determine like, we're going to get through 4 rooms tonight on this dungeon and clear 4 rooms and then that'll be good progress. But now there's more of a narrative structure to it. People are trying to apply more of this like, there should be an introduction, there should be a middle beat, and then there should be a big finish at the end, like some cliffhanger to hang on to for the next week. And I get what you're saying, like with movies and things like that, you start thinking in that cinematic, how are they getting that beginning, middle, and end? How are they achieving this? Like dissecting everything you read.
Oh yeah, especially with like television series, like just seeing how they handle the various plot points per episode and how they keep it going and how they structure the episodes. That's definitely helping a lot with planning out my sessions and figuring out. Obviously, it's not going to always hit where it hits. Like it's not always going to hit every beat the way it's supposed to, but it definitely helps in figuring out, okay, well, they've got this much time to get to this next major plot point, so we'll just let them hang out and do their thing for a couple sessions, and then we'll bring in this NPC and we'll hit this plot point and we'll get that jump started.
But you, even live, you're having to make those adjustments on the fly where you're seeing like how much time you have left in the broadcast, and then you're trying to make a decision about like what you can cliffhang on, what you can build up to next, that kind of thing. And you're having to do that as they're playing, because obviously you're not able to tell how far you're going to get through your notes before you actually are playing it. So you're having to make those things up on the fly. That's crazy.
Yeah, you get used to it though. Like eventually you do start to kind of tell when certain things are going to be happening, or like especially when I can tell when my players are going to be sitting down and discussing for a while, or they're going to be having some one-on-one moments with each other and how much time that's probably going to take. I have a good solid idea of how long combat's going to take depending on how many enemies we have. I always block out at least usually about an hour for combat, like depending on if it's just a regular kind of like 2 to 4 mobs against them and it's a pretty decent fight, it's going to be about an hour. But yeah, I'm getting used to kind of figuring those things out. I'm pretty good at time management in general, so I think that definitely helps, having some kind of time management skills. But yeah, there are definite tells story-wise and just the way that players interact with each other when there's going to be long player moments and how much time I need to block out for that. And then here's where we're going to be, if we get halfway through a session and just like, hey, we're not at this combat, we might not even hit it this time, so we're going to end it here at this particular story point. Or it gets easier once more and more you do it. And we have pretty much a hard stop at 3 hours because a lot of my players are on the East Coast and they have to work the next day. So we have to make sure that we get through what we can. But I've gotten pretty good at figuring out, okay, this is exactly how much we can fit in for this 3 hours.
That's a real skill. Let me tell you, because it can be. I'm always, as a DM, I'm always rubbing up against our time limit. Like, oh no, I want to keep going. I have so much more I want to do.
I never want to stop playing. But I'm just like, my players gotta sleep. I could keep playing all night, but they gotta sleep.
It's true. Unfortunately, these cursed mortal forms.
I know that one of our yays from our 12 yays of Christmas earlier in the year was the Stream of Many Eyes. I thought it was fantastic.
Oh yeah, loved it.
Silani, you have spoken about seeing Rivals of Waterdeep, which is a live play stream with an all POC cast on the Stream of Many Eyes, and it kind of sparked a fire in you. Can you speak a little bit about the importance of diversity in D&D, both in the game and at the table?
It was something that I wasn't expecting because, I mean, it's no secret that tabletop gaming in general is largely dominated by white men. So even though I basically worked at a bookstore for about 12 years. And so I knew we had like a game in our bookstore. And so I knew players, I knew people who worked there and friends who played, but I never really felt like that was necessarily my place because they were all white guys. And it was just like, okay, well, even when I kind of got invited and wanted to play myself, it just never felt like I really fit in to that group. So definitely seeing... Yeah. I had already started to think about putting together my own group, and I was kind of a little bit worried about it just because I wasn't sure what kind of blowback I would get from putting together an all POC group. So it was definitely a positive thing to be able to see that kind of representation on the Stream of Many Eyes because it's an official... it was an official like D&D event, and for them to have that group there, I believe
a big deal.
It was, and I think that was their first game together.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really awesome.
WotC put out a lot of PR for the event, and there was a lot of word of mouth that was going around too. So yeah, definitely a big deal.
Yep, looking forward to March. That's when the next one is.
Oh, is it?
18th and 19th, I think.
Oh my god.
Is it March or May? May 18th and 19th.
18th, I think. Okay.
It was Matt Colville recently. He was talking about his stream, and he was like, it is not unreasonable if you walk into a room and nobody in the room looks like you to feel like maybe you don't belong in that room. Like, you know, if you go into a space and there's nobody in that space who looks like you or you know, is like you, then you can feel excluded. But that we have to make sure that we, you know, we advocate that there is space in the room, like, for everybody. But yeah, I just thought about that. You know, if you look at all the stream shows, a heck of a lot of them are not very diverse at all. They're pretty samey. So there's definitely room out there for different kinds of people to be, you know, showing that they're part of this hobby as well. And we need to be supportive of those people because this is a diverse hobby. And it can be more diverse if we show people that it is a diverse hobby and that it's for everybody. And it's people like you who are doing that. Thank you. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a story to tell, and this is a hobby that is kind of built on storytelling. So it makes sense to want to diversify the people in this hobby because there's just so much that every individual can bring. And it's great to be with a group of people who kind of get that. And I don't feel like I have to change the way that I tell my story because of the environment that I'm in. So it's nice. I can actually be myself even when I'm playing other people and they can do the same. And it was really important to me when I decided to start the group was making sure that I was able to create a positive, safe experience for them. I talked a little bit in my podcast that my first experience with D&D was not great and left me kind of not wanting to play for a long time. So it was really important to me that because I was basically putting myself in a position of power to create a safe, positive experience for my players. And apparently it worked because they seem to be having a great time. And yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunately common. That, you know, 10, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, this place wasn't as nice to be in. It wasn't as nice a hobby to be involved in, but things have really started to change. There's still a lot more that needs to be done. But things have started to change. And again, it's people like you who are doing the hard work of actually pushing that change and making it really happen.
It's definitely, I see a lot of effort on a lot of different fronts to really broaden the audience, which is great. I mean, I can totally understand where some of the diehard old school gamers can be a little hesitant about that, but you know, you still have your old school games, you still have your groups that you want to put together if you want to just have a
nobody's coming into your kitchen and making you do anything different.
Exactly.
Like,
do what you want to do, but we're just making it accessible for other people to also enjoy the magic that is tabletop gaming.
Right, and the more the game grows, the more game there is for everybody. Like, the more, the more diverse our audience gets, the more people who are playing the game, the more incentive there is to keep making the game. It's good for everybody if the hobby grows and grows and grows.
Our audience. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for us. Oh, yeah. I'm talking about our, in the sense of the community of Dungeons and Dragons. Our audience. Yeah. Our audience is a little corner over there on the edge, but for the hobby as a whole, that is it's good.
On the edge of glory.
That's true.
Jay.
That's it. I like your positive attitude.
That's a great book title, On the Edge of Glory.
So, you know, given the conversation we just had about why it's important to have diversity, especially visible diversity, in all levels, including highest level. How would you suggest D&D players diversify their tables, whether these tables are streamed or not?
I think first you have to really reach out to people. I mean, the thing about it is a lot of people who are part of marginalized groups are used to being excluded. So we may not always be willing to kind of put ourselves out there. And it's kind of the reason why, like, I never went into a local game store to join their games, because it just... you get so used to being excluded, you're kind of afraid to put yourself out there and ask to be included. So you kind of have to reach out to people and especially like if you don't know any Black friends, then reach out and ask for Black players. I mean, it's like, I know it sounds kind of weird, but like, honestly, if you just go out and put yourself out there and just reach out to people, I mean, you'll get some hits. I mean, that's totally what I did when I asked for an all POC group. I just went out and said, hey, I'm looking for POC people who want to play D&D. Just hit me up. And I got a bunch of hits. So it's easy as that. But you have to reach out. because not everybody, don't expect everybody to come to you and ask to be included, because a lot of people are used to just being excluded, that they don't want to put themselves out there, even if they really want to play.
And it's so easy with the rise of the
Yes.
internet as a social platform to just, as you said, like Tumblr, Twitter, put out
Yes.
a call.
I'm putting together a group and I wanted more diverse people. Hey, is there anybody?
Diverse people are in all of these digital spaces
Yes.
as well.
It's a very much a myth of that there are just certain demographics that don't do these things, don't play these games. Like, no, there aren't. Like, there's people in every demographic who will play these games.
Yeah.
There's interest in everything. People like stuff.
Oh yeah,
People like, I love it. Can that be our
people like
catchphrase?
stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
People like
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, if you want people to follow, we had Dungeon Commander on last week. They have a ton of people that they always retweet to follow. A huge list that they're doing as part of Black History Month is just a list of people who are in the community, people of color, who are people you can follow that have interesting, relevant, and inspiring stuff going on. And yeah, I think it's easy. If you find people like that, you can spread out who you're following, who you're talking to, and that's going to naturally diversify who you're interacting with. Like, you know, if you look around and everybody looks just like you, then do some work to find some people who don't look just like you.
I can't say how many times I've talked to my white people and they've said, well, you know, we didn't have anybody of color or any diversity because we don't have any, you know, friends from that group. And I'm like, that seems like a
Yeah,
you
then go out and
problem.
make some.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Go meet some
We
people.
understand that might be an enrichment in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Off my high horse.
No, it's absolutely real. Insight check. We also.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah, we're expanding our horizons and meeting new people and expanding beyond the penny arcade realm to different groups and different parts of the community, and like I have not regretted it at all. Christina Ariel is one of the most cool people I've ever talked to, and I'm like, Dungeon Commander was whip smart, like, and every conversation we've had in this arena, Lisa Chin was incredible, wonderful to talk to, super funny. Hadil was really engaging. I haven't regretted a single conversation we've had since we've reached out beyond our initial circle of friends. And
Cocoon, our very
yeah,
if you will.
I love all those people, so I will definitely need to check out those past episodes because I love all those people.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're talking to everybody cool.
they're just as awesome as you might
Yeah.
imagine.
It's our sincere effort. The whole purpose of the show is just to talk to cool people we admire. That's
Awesome.
the only purpose.
Definitely.
That is awesome.
It's why you're here.
Aw, thank you.
Your cosplay is incredible, by the way. We haven't talked about it yet.
Oh my!
Oh, thank
Let's
you.
talk about your cosplay for a moment.
We haven't even.
Can we just talk about?
Silani also does cosplay.
Yeah, and
now.
it's like,
that wasn't in the bio at the beginning, but oh my
yeah, and it's
goodness.
next level cosplay too.
Yeah,
It's
I'd
not
say
like
so.
some basic cosplay. How did you get into
Although
cosplaying?
Basic cosplay is valid.
great.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah,
of
basic
posts.
cosplay's fine. You got to start somewhere. But this is like some next level stuff. How'd you get into
That's a
cosplaying?
good question. I've been doing it so long, I kind of forgot. I think, actually, no, I do know. It was when I first went to Ren Fair in, I think, high school that I wanted to. First I wanted to like buy a beautiful Ren Fair costume, and they're crazy expensive. And then I eventually forgot about it.
See,
and then
now I'm mad that those people didn't let you play D&D with them. Because like if you were into Ren Fair, you were like the perfect person.
Now you're mad. You weren't mad
I'm
before.
like, but like, if you were into Ren Fair, you were the perfect person for a D&D table because like that is like an overlap of interest that is 1 in a million. Like that is so cool. Yeah. So you went to Ren Fair. That's awesome.
yeah, I went. My first Ren Fair was in high school, and then like I think I just kind of forgot about it and went through life. And then later in my 20s, I I started going regularly every year. This is back in Arizona, so it was the Arizona Renaissance Festival, and it became like my happy place. Like every year, this is before I started going to conventions. I didn't even know cons were a thing, so it was like my con. And it was there that I started wanting to learn how to sew so I can make my own Ren Fair costume. And so at least I started off with a cloak. And so I made a cloak for myself and a cloak for a couple friends. And that's kind of what started it. And then eventually I think I went to my first convention. Oh gosh, I want to say around 2005, 2006. And that was the most amazing experience. I'd never been to a Comic-Con before. And I was just blown away. And there were people in costumes. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. So after that, I decided to start making my own costumes. And I ended up I think I took a sewing course at the community college. And that was like the only actual learning that I'd ever done. And then from there, I just learned everything on my own and been cosplaying ever since.
That is awesome. You're self-taught?
For the most part, yeah. Though it's funny because my mother has been a skilled seamstress my entire life and has always wanted to teach me how to sew, and I refused to learn.
Well, that's because she was your mother and she wanted you to do it. You couldn't.
Exactly.
You can't.
Yeah.
And now she just shakes her head at me, just like, I used to want to teach you how to do this. And I'm just like, I'm stubborn.
Do you bond at all over that?
Sometimes. Mostly it's just her showing me things that she wants me to make, or she's like, you should make a costume with this. She's like, she doesn't quite get the whole, like, it has to be like a character that I enjoy thing. She just thinks that if it's a cool costume, I should make it. So she like punts things. Her latest thing has been, so now they have that show, the Masked Singer show or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But this show was like really popular in Asia to begin with. And they had it in Thailand. My mom's Thai. And they had it in Thailand. So she's been watching like the Thai series for years. And so she kept sending me these videos like, oh, look at these costumes. You like costumes? Look at these costumes.
Do they not have like fursuits in the Thai?
I've not seen a fursuit yet. But mostly just really elaborate, beautiful costumes. But I'm just like, I'm not making that.
Yeah. The Korean version is pretty outlandish in their costumes.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen a couple of those. They have like K-pop idols on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That show has been popular in my mom's home as well. I guess there's a certain demographic. Moms.
Yes.
This is a show for moms.
Moms singing and costumes.
Do you find similarities in the details of creating a cosplay and building an NPC? Like, is that a similar process of exploration for you? Like, where you're sort of finding out the character details and...
Not so much, not necessarily the NPCs, but I think that there is definitely a sort of project planning aspect of it that helps out with like building adventures in general. Just like when you look at a costume just face on as it is on screen or whatever you're building from, it's kind of daunting. And then you start just kind of mapping out and breaking down the various parts of it. So in the various layers, and then you start breaking those down even more into various steps that you actually have to accomplish. And you do the same thing when you're building an adventure. You have kind of an overarching story that you want to get to, but then you have to start breaking it into little chunks and then detailing those little chunks. Okay, what do my players have to do to get to this point? Okay, well, when they're doing this, who are they interacting with? What sort of backstory elements can I bring into this? And then break that down even more to like, okay, this is a 3-hour session. What parts of this particular story arc can I get to in a 3-hour session, and start mapping that out? But that's much more of a laying the tracks as the train's coming down the road kind of situation.
Yeah.
Because no matter what you have planned, it's going to go off the rails. But I really enjoy that. I think that's the part that I actually love the most.
The moments where you're laying down the track in front of the car is some of the most adrenaline pumping moments as a DM.
I'm amazed they don't see the sweat and the panic in my eyes sometimes. It's just like, I did not plan for an encounter. Okay.
Yeah, one of the benefits of playing online without the video chat, whenever they don't see me freaking out. Oh, you want to go there? Oh, sure, that's fine. I'm completely prepared for this. And I'm just like frantically making a map in the background.
I'll just pull up some random stuff. There's so many great resources now, though, that just... I feel spoiled. Even though I just started, I feel spoiled because there's so many resources.
Yeah, a great DM is their tools these days. Like, it's not how many minis you own. It's like how many websites you have bookmarked that can generate all these things you need for you on the fly.
And I don't have to pay for them, unlike minis.
Yeah.
So I had a coworker ask me to run a game for them for a group who has never played D&D before. So we're going to run a one shot. And so I've got to I've been playing everything online, so I'm just like, oh god, I need physical things now. I need figurines and maps and other physical things, so that'll be interesting.
Well, I can recommend to you, there are some little dry erase boards that are like puzzle pieces. Those are really great for building your maps down on the fly because you just lay one down, and then as you need them, you can build it out in whatever direction you want to go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep, they're nice. And they're pretty cheap online. And then there's also 2-Minute Tabletop, which produces maps.
I love 2-Minute Tabletops. I love his drawing style. It's so charming.
Absolutely. And then there's paper minis on I forget what the website's called, but there's paper minis online as well that you can get that you just print off and fold over, and they make great minis. I'll post it on the Twitter.
Oh, excellent. Nice.
Yeah, lots of tools to make it cheap and easy to DM. Because man, it's expensive if you get into minis.
Oh yes, I started to, and it's like, no, I don't have time, money, or space.
Oh yeah, and the terrain. Oh my gosh.
How much do you think Matt Colville's set up? Tactical camera and everything.
Oh, tactical camera and everything? You're talking orders of thousands of dollars. Although actually, funnily enough, Matt Colville's tactical cams, the ones for the tactical stream, are just cell phones. Because they're easy to move around the table and position wherever you need them. So they just use like cell phones for the tactical cams on little tripods. And then for their big cameras, of course, for the ones showing their faces, they use nice cameras.
You could use cell phone tactical cams for like an online stream too.
Yeah, for an online game, you could definitely like show your players
Here's
yeah, exactly.
It's you.
This is you. Look, it's you. But yeah, Roll20 is great for playing online and getting that tactical experience without having to work too hard at it.
Spend too much.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting addicted to making maps in Roll20. I just have all the
Jay's all about that.
Yeah.
All the modular maps are just like, oh gosh, I would just sink all my time into doing this. I actually started streaming on my personal Twitch channel, which is me map making. Because I was well, I'm going to be doing this for hours anyway. Hey, if people want to come in and hang out.
Absolutely. I've been following this creator on Roll20 called Yuikami. They make these cute little miniatures. And they also make...
Kawaii.
And they also make modular dungeon tiles. And they recently released, actually, an overworld map modular set. So you can make like the overworld as in that same style. So you can have the dungeons, the tokens, and the overworld all in the same aesthetic.
Wow!
And they have tons of minis now. They just released 3 NPC packs that have basically all the races that are in Dungeons and Dragons in a melee or spellcasting variant.
What is their name? What is the
Yuikami? Yep, Yuikami, and they're great. They're I use their stuff all the time, and they are ridiculously cutesy though. So if your players are not into cutesy stuff, they might not like it.
See, we had a riff
yeah.
Monday game where Jay was using it was the lizard.
Yeah, there was a
very, very cute lizard token from Yuikami.
And the player was like, "That's not my character. My character's cooler than that."
Too cute. I love them.
So, like, I have all these cute little enemies, and then, like, the players are these sprites from Fire Emblem.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I want to do an all cutesy game now.
That's me. Listen, I'm here for it.
Just a full,
I can help you out.
Yes. Adorable setting.
Come on, cute. But then, like, with maybe some...
Was it Whimsyville or whatever that level is in Diablo? That's just the rainbows and unicorns. Yes.
Absolutely.
Everything's cute and everything's trying to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, I think, it's a world of imagination. You're building the world in your mind. What's on the screen is just to give you an idea about AoEs, right? Don't worry worry about it. If I'm having to put a picture of a dog up to represent a Hades hound, then just go with it, okay?
It's got to be the cutest, fluffiest puppy in the world.
Oh man, this is completely off topic. There was a picture of Cerberus, but it was like a corgi.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oops, I
Now
love
we've gone
it.
completely off the rails.
I hear you're the Zonecast fan. The Adventure Zone.
So here's the
Shivani, is
thing.
that correct?
I have listened to a few of the episodes and I was having a hard time getting into the episodes, but I love the graphic novel.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
went to the live show, and I love the live show. They did like this one-shot vampire live show here in Seattle, and I went to the live show, and they're hilarious. So I'm way behind on actual like campaign stuff, but I like all the random stuff that they have.
They took a while to find their legs, I think. I think the first episodes are kind of rough. True believers will tell you otherwise, but I think it's okay to start like 2 or 3 episodes in and just go from there. But yeah, I agree that the first episodes can be kind of rough, but then they really find their legs. And the graphic novel is amazing. The art
really
is
I love
gorgeous. Yeah.
I love that streams are releasing graphic novels now because it's even another entry point into...
And perhaps, if the rumors are
cult.
true, even an animated series.
Oh, that would be amazing.
For Taz.
Vox Machina, apparently.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, apparently they're in talks with some sort of animated cartoon. And I still think the D&D cartoon will be revived in some way or form on Netflix eventually. I would be shocked if they weren't working on that.
All I'm thinking of is that terrible movie with Jeremy Irons
Yeah.
and Marlon Wayans.
Don't worry, the cartoon wasn't much better. The old school cartoon wasn't much better, but you know, all these old school cartoons were kind of garbage, and now they're getting rebooted into really great kids shows, so
Yeah.
it'll be fine the second go around.
Silani, we are so excited to have the chance to speak with you. Can you tell us what's coming up for you and where we might be able to see your wonderful visage in the future?
Well, I have this magic mirror. If you purchase it, you will see me all the time. Oh, that's a new magic item. Okay, yeah, I need to write that down.
I'll take 3.
You'll just see the
That's
disapproving
why they
DM.
call you Mistress first.
Let's see. Plot Hunters airs every Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/plothunters. I also have my own Twitch channel, twitch.tv/mistressverse, where I stream. Right now I was streaming Dragon Age Origins because I decided to fall down that hole again. It's been about a decade, so I guess it's about that time. And occasionally I do stream at Making on Roll20 as well. And I'm on Twitter at mistressverse. Right now I've just got Plot Hunters. I've got my podcast. Hopefully some new games coming up soon. I just picked up Blades in the Dark, and so I'm reading through that and really want to learn that system because I have a homebrew setting in mind that I've been working on that would be really great for that system. So hopefully that'll be something down in the future and maybe one-shots or something. But right now, it's just Plot Hunters, my main thing.
And then the streams you're doing on your personal as well.
Yeah, that's kind of off and on. Sorry, I don't have a set schedule for that one. It's just whenever I happen to feel like popping on. But at least Plot Hunters is every week. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you hanging out with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is awesome.
I knew she's gonna be the best and awesome.
Drake has a pretty good nose for these things.
Aw.
Follow your nose. Well, thank you, audience, for joining us on this episode of Insight Check. You know the drill. We would love to thank Vince Vept for our musical numbers and Amy T. Falcone for our visual things as well that we use on social media. We've been graced by their presences, both auditory and visual. If you'd like to,
You can do it. I believe in you.
Leave us a review anywhere on the internet. Please do so, or tell us to our faces at Insight Check Pod on Twitter.
Or at our homes.
People like things.
Yes. I want that on a shirt now.
This
was
Insight
Check.
let's wrap back around. I thought of I'm gonna pitch you a name for your Die Hard adventure. Okay,
Oh, yes.
Dice Hard.
Whoa.
Yes.
Dice are hard. Hashtag true
No,
facts.
now you ruined it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. What's the next one?